Hello guys, Nico here. A month or so back, I decided to drop the MGTOW label, and I did so in perhaps not the best way possible. The video stated no clear reasons as to why I did that, and did not even have audio. I did it as a reaction to the general trend that I was noticing, and I wanted to respond to the accusations that I was not really a MGTOW by saying that I do not really require a label to lead and live a fulfilling life, and I went on to create new content without that label. In truth, I have found that dropping the label has been liberating in terms of allowing me to create content without double checking my words or impeding my message. I have felt that the MGTOW label seemed to be limiting my ability to express myself freely. I am, after all, happy just being called a man, because that's all I am at the end of the day. But make no mistake in thinking that I have abandoned all the aspects of what I was preaching before. In the way that I see things, I'm pretty much enjoying myself a lot more now in comparison to how I was before. I don't presume for a second that I know myself 100%, but I know I have a good idea of who I am at this point in my life. This was one of the key aspects of self-exploration that I undertook for the past 1 year while creating content under the MGTOW label. Many things have been said about my character and my person, the pussy addiction that I apparently suffer from, and I preach about to other people. And I'm wondering if, from everything I have talked about over the past year, that's the take-home message for the people listening. I remember talking to Barbarossa once about women and his relationship and how the MGTOW way has affected his interactions with his girlfriend. He told me in plain terms that MGTOW has taught him how to be good alone, how to understand himself and be alright with himself. Gone is the fear of dying alone, gone is the fear of rejection, and in no uncertain terms he is able to live alone if his relationship is no longer pleasing to him. I mentioned before in earlier videos that the biggest strength for a man when it comes to his engagement with the opposite sex is his ability to walk away. MGTOW teaches you what walking away feels like, and it teaches you how women operate fundamentally, given their nature. In PUA circles, they talk about inner game, and I'm sure if you watch my chats with Rollo Tomasi, he talks about mental point of origin. Spetsnaz's videos were created so a man can explore and understand himself. Stardust, Coltrane, and CS are great in exploring the nature and the biological angle of the human ape in general, covering both males and females, and how that translates to actual behaviors on a social scale. All this knowledge comes together in a single mind, in a single package. And when formed together, you can create a mindset that should be as far away from hate as possible. I talk and live the MGTOW way. The MGTOW way that I personally understand. I also choose not to call it that, because it simply does not matter what I call it anyway. People make so much fuss over engagement with women that I perhaps have an addiction to pussy, etc. But the truth is that I have been happy without and with women. I was happy before I got in a relationship and will probably be happy after I get out of that relationship. I do not negate or ignore the risks of any involvement with females and do not think of myself as a special little butterfly. I choose to engage with women because I actually enjoy it and can have intelligent conversations, if you believe it, with some of them. I look at every woman in the eyes, and that every time I am with her as an awalt. Not an awalt, but an awalt. The spell is gone for me, and I'm happier for it. I have never shat on MGTOW ideas ever. I shut on unintelligible and hateful propositions from people trying to sell them as MGTOW ideas. As far as I'm concerned, a person is worth helping and having his eyes open, whether he's MGTOW or not. As such, I made the decision to separate myself from the label so that I never have to have any of my ideas mixed in with what I consider to be hate. I have always been what I am. And I want people to be free and be able to freely express themselves and do what they consider to be the right decisions in their lives. I want them to measure their success in their lives by the experiences they lived and not by the experiences not lived or the risk that they have avoided without learning a new way to live, or to brag how their experiences are much more valid because they've had it worse in their lives. I hold no judgment as to the decisions people make as to how they choose to live their lives, as the way that I live my life is not for everyone, and is definitely not the only way. All I want is for people to move away from their rage, their hate, their depression, their ignorance, and their misery onto something new. And new has never ever meant to include women. That decision is up to the individual. Thank you very much for listening.